Good morning, and today we're welcoming Michael Lonechild to the Treaty 4 Governance Center here in the large teepee. Michael was brought on to the Treaty 4 Student Success team here in last September as our artist in residence. Michael, it's nice to have you here today.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. What were your thoughts when you first took on the role as our artist in residence for Treaty 4 Student Success Program?
Well, at first I was a little apprehensive about teaching kids. In the past, all I've been teaching was adult art classes. And I was a little scared, I guess, to get into a classroom full of kids and how they would react towards me, and whether I was qualified enough to convey my message to them. That's probably what I was a little worried about, mostly.
Thank you. What has been the importance to you of sharing your gifts in Treaty 4 with Treaty 4 First Nations children, with children from your own community out of White Bear?
Well, when I look back, when I was a kid, there was no programs available for art, and that most of what I know I learned on my own, and that as a result I don't know how I paint. I just do it. And I guess that was why I wanted to share my knowledge about art to kids, is that there are some kids out there that like to paint, and it's if I could help one, that would be, I've succeeded. And it's like art is all a visual experience. The more you see, the quicker you learn. That's kind of the way I try to teach in the school, is that I show them what I do, and they pick it up right away what I do. Then they try to do what I did. And that's the way I teach.
Nice, thank you.
So I answered two questions there.
You did. What surprised you the most in your journey through Treaty 4 schools? You have 18 schools with Treaty 4 Student Success Program. What surprised you the most on your journey?
Surprised me the most? Probably the thought I have about being in a room full of children, that they would all be, how kids are.
Mm-hmm.
But all the schools that I went to, they were always attentive, and that they were all interested in following my teaching, and that probably was, and they were all respectful. I don't know if they're always like that, but they were when I was there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. What did you learn about yourself now that you've entered the classroom of children as opposed to adults, like you said earlier? What have you learned about yourself now?
Probably, like I was saying, that in my career as an artist, everything that I know about art I learned on my own. Mm-hmm. And that how did I, for example, how do I mix these colors? How do I come to do this stuff with such a limited amount of color? And it was all up here, eh? And I never tried to explain it to anybody. And to try and do that with kids was the challenge. And when I achieved it, then the barrier was broken. I could go into any class and teach any kid how to paint.
Well, and I know you worked with our T4SSP team and taught us how to paint. And mixing the color was the most delicate thing, taking those colors, trying to get the perfect green. And I watched how you carefully mixed them back and forth. So I enjoyed that very much. What would you say was your biggest accomplishment with our schools?
Probably to, in a short time that I had, like 6 hours per class is really a short time. And I was really fortunate that the kids do not like to wait. They do not like to sit around and they want to get right at it. Eh? So that I had that going for me, and that's why we were able to accomplish what we did here today.
For the showing?
Yeah.
If you had a message to First Nations artists, and similar to yourself, and I know we have artists throughout our Treaty 4 territory who are quiet like you and haven't really walked into the classrooms yet, what would your advice to them be, or what would you say to
Teachers
them?
or artists?
The artists.
Okay. The adult artists?
Adult artists
Okay.
that are out there.
Well, the way I understand artists, because I'm speaking for myself, we're quiet people. We don't like to, we like to talk, but the best work we do is when we're alone, right? We spend a lot of time alone, and we don't do much socializing during the day. So we develop a quiet personality, you know, and I guess shyness is part of it too. And once you get past that shyness and come out and share what you have, that you're a better person for it. You know, I believe that God gave me a talent to paint. In that, in my stage of life now, it's time to share some of that knowledge with the kids, and that through these kids' work, you could see part of me in there. Right? You know, it's kind of you're sharing something good with the children, that some of them will use it, you know. They might not use it today, but when they grow up, you know, who knows, one of them might be an artist. And like when I was growing up, when I was 15, 14, 15, I knew I was going to be an artist, because it was in me, you know, the desire to paint was there, but I couldn't do this for too long, and that desire is still with me today, you know? And that's the way I imagine the Creator wanted it to be, and I know I'm not the only artist that has that feeling. You know, there's children today that I imagine have a gift to paint, and I've seen some of them. I would like to be around to see how they do and they become a real good artist.
As we close down our interview, I know that we're going to take a walk now through the gallery of works, and you are indeed right, is that there's a little piece of Michael Lonechild in each of these pieces that's displayed here today. So at this time, I'll close off the interview, and we'll take a walk and look at the pieces that the children from Treaty 4 schools across our 18 schools have created to be displayed here for the 1 year at our Governance Center in the Grand Teepee. Thank you, Mr. President.
This particular piece was done at the Muscatine School. I think it's grade 2. When he was doing it, it looked so complicated, but yet simple, and that's why I chose him. And I had to stop him because he was going to paint it all, and I told him, you know, you got to stop here. It looks really good. Just stop. And a lot of these paintings, I had to stop the kids there because they were really getting into it. From Carrot to Kettle, grade 8. The lady did it. And she followed me and kept up with what I was doing. And that, I think there was I'd say about 10 to 12 students that were doing the same picture. And this was one of the better ones, so that's why I picked it. This one is from the Ocean Man First Nation, grade 5 student. When I was explaining it to the students about the simplicity of my painting, was that you start off looking very simple, but as you put on more strokes and more different colors, it starts to suddenly take on a really complicated look. In actuality, all this is red with white, a little bit of white, and as you come down, you add a little bit of yellow. And here it's just blue and white, and the rest is darks. It's a play with color that we were doing that day, and it looks really good. It looks starts to look complicated the more stuff you add into it. I guess what I had to do was I had to tell the kids when to stop. You know, there were some that I wasn't paying too much attention to, and they got a little carried away with their work. You know, they just like to play with paint. You know. This one is a painting from the Fishing Lake School. It was the last school that I went. It was the 18th school that I went to. And the young lady, this is one of the girls that has some ability to paint, has that creativity. She did some other ones that I've seen, and she did a pretty good job. And even in here, I had to kind of stop her. She was getting a little carried away too. What I tried to do here was tell 2 stories in one. And this was kind of a modern day rider. And at the bottom, the flip side of it was depicting what the man might have been in the past. He's a warrior. Plus there's a teepee instead of a house reflecting in the same general area, right? The trees are the same, but time is different. It's just a different, you know, art is not, when you start boxing in yourself in art, then you stop creating. And if you just let the kids, just lead them in a certain way, and they'll follow you, and then they'll begin creating their own as they're going in.